everybody, I'm back with an update video for you on Gibson. If you haven't watched my last video, I was very worried about him because he had stopped eating as much and he just wasn't as chirpy as he usually is. So I took him to the vet yesterday, and unfortunately my gut instinct was right and there's something is wrong. If I just start from the beginning, I took him into the vet, explained that he's finding himself, he looks well, he looks healthy, he's still chatting away, he's still moving around, he's still exercising, and that I thought maybe it was something to do with his teeth because he just wasn't eating as much. He's been picking up food, trying to eat it, trying to nibble it, but then dropping it and just leaving it, which is very unlike him. He's a very greedy piggy, so for Gibson not to eat food or to leave food, that is, something's got to be wrong. So the vet did all the usual checks, checking his eyes, checking his ears, just squeezing his belly, just to make sure there's no problems down there. He said he's got a good body composition, he's a good weight. Nothing wrong with his bladder or anything like that. He gave him a good check over, and then he went to check in his mouth. So I had to hold him by his little shoulders while he just put this, I think it was like a microscope into his mouth just to have a look. And he said, "Oh, unfortunately, I can't see his teeth because there's a lot of food in the way." Because he wanted to check his back teeth just in case they're overgrown, because that's just very, very normal in guinea pigs, as their teeth are growing constantly. So it's very, very common for their teeth to get a little bit long and they need to be trimmed, and they can be uncomfortable and painful and can stop them eating as normal. So, I said to him, yeah, I think it's something to do with his teeth. But the vet said, well, I can't see his teeth because there's a lot of food in the way, which is, not normal. Guinea pigs, they should, like us, we shouldn't be holding food in our cheeks and in our mouth. We should be chewing it up and swallowing it. So he said, I have a feeling it's something to do with his teeth. Maybe, they've become a little bit overgrown and he can't chew his food, he can't swallow it. So I left him at the vet. They put him under an anaesthetic. They just gave him a little bit of gas to put him to sleep, and then they had a look inside his mouth. Unfortunately, there is nothing wrong with his teeth. Well, that's not unfortunately for that. That's a very good thing. There's nothing wrong with his teeth. His teeth look very good, very, very good condition. They're not overgrown at all. But then it still leaves, the question: why is there so much food in his mouth? Why isn't he swallowing the food? And the vet said, unfortunately, he thinks that there might be nerve damage, he might have paralysis of the tongue or the throat that's stopping him from being able to swallow. He just basically said he's lost the ability to swallow. There's nothing wrong with his teeth. He should be able to swallow, so it's definitely either something to do with his throat or something to do with his tongue. He said, unfortunately, with guinea pigs, they're not able to look at their tongues and to see if there is any nerve damage. With a dog or a cat, it's very easy. But with a guinea pig, as they're so tiny and they're so delicate, it's impossible to know, really. So, yeah, very upsetting. Basically, he has lost the ability to swallow food. So that's very sad. So I asked the vet, I just asked him straight out, I just said, what shall I do? What would you do? What do you recommend? And he said, it doesn't look good at all. It's not good long term, but it's worth a try. It's just worth a try, just experimenting with different foods, seeing what he can eat, trying him with different vegetables, trying him with different brands of pellets, and just seeing what he can have and what he can swallow. So I brought him home, and I've been keeping him in a little makeshift cage. I've just set him up in my room. It's only small, it's just a 2x2 cage. So don't worry, it's not temporary. It's just so I can keep an eye on him and what he's eating, how much he's pooping, etc, etc. So he's been in here since about 10 o'clock last night. I brought him home from the vet, and because I had to go to work, I just put him straight back in with Badger, because obviously he'd been at the vet's all day since about 9 o'clock in the morning. So I knew something was wrong. I knew it couldn't just be his teeth and they needed to be, trimmed down. I knew something more had happened, something a bit more drastic, because he'd been at the vet for so long. So I just knew. I had a gut instinct that something definitely wasn't right. I knew it couldn't be as simple as his teeth. I just had this horrible feeling. So I've on the recommendation by the vet, I've just set up this little cage in my room, and I've been keeping him in here for the past, how many hours has it been? Probably about 13 hours, 12, 13 hours, and just keeping a check on what he's eating. I've given him some pellets, I've given him some hay and vegetables. These are the vegetables I put in his cage last night. Now normally Gibson would have wolfed those down in 5 minutes, but as you can see, he's hardly even touched it. I think he nibbled at one bit of carrot, but that's it. And he's tried nibbling at the pellets, but he hasn't been able to eat them. As you can see, they're on the floor. He's picked them up, he's trying to eat them, but he can't. The only thing he has been eating is the hay. He has had a bit of hay this morning, which is good news, but apart from that, he has not had anything. He didn't have anything last night. I mean, this is the vegetables I left for him last night. He hasn't had any veggies. He didn't have any pellets yesterday. So he has gone quite a long time now without hardly any food. And as you can see, not many droppings. A Piggy who's been in here for a good 12, 13 hours, there should be droppings all over the floor, because, they're very messy animals, piggies. But as you can see, there's only, a handful of droppings on the floor, and some of those are pellets, like these for instance. Those are pellets by there that he's picked up and he's dropped. So yeah, and they're not the best shaped poops either. They should be quite long and big, but these are quite small and stubby, as you can see. So it doesn't look good at all. So basically the vet said it's worth a try. Give it 24 hours. See what he does, have a little experiment, see what he can eat, see what he can't, and then, if it doesn't improve, if the situation doesn't improve, it's best to bring him in, which basically means bring him in and have him put down. So, yeah, it's very upsetting, but I'm glad the vet was honest with me. I'm glad he was straight to the point with me, and yeah, that's the main thing. So I've given him a handful of different veggies here to see, what he can have. There's lettuce, there's green beans, broccoli, carrot, tomato, and cucumber. And like I said, he tried to nibble on a bit of carrot, and that's about it. He hasn't even touched the lettuce, which is really unlike him, because lettuce is his favourite. So there's something definitely wrong, and yeah. Unfortunately, it's not looking good at all for little Gibson. So yeah, it's very, very upsetting. But, you've got to look on the bright side of things. He's not in any pain. He's not suffering at all. He's not in any physical pain at all. He just can't swallow, that's all. He can't eat, but he hasn't got any pain or anything. He's been given an antibiotic. He's been given some Baytril, just in case he was in any pain. But he doesn't. As you can see, he's very lively. He's very, he is, apart from not being able to swallow, he's in absolute perfect condition. It's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy what has happened. Before you say I can't even feed him critical care, he wouldn't even swallow that. That's what his mouth was full of yesterday when I took him to the vet. The day before, I had given him some critical care because I was worried about him because he hadn't been eating as much. Oh, he's having a lie down now. And unfortunately, even though I've been giving him some water as well, I was giving him a syringe of watered down critical care, then I was giving him a syringe of water just to help him wash it down. But he just wasn't able to swallow it. He was just holding it all in his pouches. So when he did go to the vet and the vet tried to look at his mouth, he just could not see anything because there was just food there that hadn't been swallowed overnight. So, oh, he's having a little snuggle now. So, yeah, not good news for Gibson, I'm afraid. I'm going to keep him in here for another couple of hours. I'm going to keep an eye on him. But if things don't improve, which I personally I don't think they will, I will have to give the vet a ring this afternoon, because obviously I don't want him to suffer. If he's not eating and he's not going to get any better, I don't want him to be suffering. I've been weighing him every day, and he has lost a bit of weight, obviously, because he hasn't been eating as much. And like I said in the last video, when piggies start to lose weight, that's not a good sign at all. So the best thing to do is to be kind and just to put him out of his misery. Even though he's not in any misery, he's a very happy little piggy at the moment. But, you know, another 24 hours without food and he really will start to go downhill. Oh, poor little Gibson. So, yeah, I have no idea why this has happened and what could have caused it. So I'm very, you know, unsure at the moment, but all I know is that I don't want him to go through any unnecessary pain or, you know, suffering. So I think this is the best thing to do. At the moment, he's happy, he's fairly healthy, he's fairly, you know, he is himself. But like I said, he will go downhill very quickly if he doesn't eat anything. As you can see, he's wriggling around, he's moving around, he's very energetic. So, you know, this is probably the best way for it to go. Because he's not going to be this sprightly in 24 hours. So I just don't want to leave it. Oh dear, Gibson made me drop the camera. Gibson! Naughty piggy, you made me drop the camera! Yeah, you did! So, yeah, very sad. Very sad also for Badger, because now he's going to be on his own. But I'll have to see what I can do. But I'm not giving up hope completely. I am going to give it another couple of hours. I'm going to try him on some fresh veggies. Like I said, he has been eating a bit of hay, but it's just not enough food to, you know, to keep him going, to keep him fueled. So, anyways, we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I'm going to give it a couple more hours. I'm going to give it to about 3 o'clock, so about 4 or 5 hours, and just see what happens, and just keep on with his progress. Oh, Gibson! You're so wriggly today! See, he's got so much energy, he's so sprightly. He's such a healthy pig, you wouldn't know anything was wrong with him. Oh, Gibson! So funny. I'm going to put him back in his little cage a moment, and we could just have a little watch of him. So I've put him back in his little makeshift cage, and he's gone straight for his pigloo, where he pretty much has been the entire time. He's been coming out a little bit and exploring, but apart from that, he's just been sitting in his igloo, not doing very much. Like I said, he has been a bit more lethargic than he usually is, and yeah. But on another plus side is that he doesn't seem to really be missing Badger. He hasn't really been looking for him or calling out for him, and vice versa with Badger. Yesterday, Badger was on his own all day because Gibson obviously was at the vet. He was at the vet from 9 until about 4:45. So Badger was on his own all day, and you know, he wasn't looking around or calling for him. He is, like I said, a very nervous piggy, and he was just keeping himself to himself. But he wasn't really, you know, moping around looking for Gibson. So I'm not quite sure why that is. You know, they're really good buddies, but I don't think they're absolutely besotted with each other. You know, they're not all over each other all the time and, you know, snuggling up together or anything like that. They're good friends, but that, you know, it's not anything too much. So, you know, if they were to be separated, I don't know if it'd be such a humongous deal. I don't know if he'd be really, really, you know, distraught. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. But it's still very upsetting because obviously he does love having a buddy, and they are very good friends, and they get on along so well. And Badger is a nervous piggy, and he having Gibson now is very dominant, very confident. They're a great match for each other, and they complement each other. And Gibson has helped bring Badger's confidence up so much over the past 2 years. So it is very upsetting. As you can see, he's coming out and he's been nibbling on his little chew. But when it comes to food, as you can see, he came out and he just, you know, he had a look, he had a little sniff, and that was it. He just bypassed all of it. So yeah, I'm going to keep him in here for another couple of hours. and then, you know, make my decision then. I'd just like to thank everybody who's left comments on my Facebook page and on the YouTube video regarding Gibson, sorry. Had some really nice messages and comments from people, so thank you very much. But like I said, you know, there's not much I can do at the moment. All I can do is just think of Badger and do what's best for him. I don't want him to suffer. I don't want him to go through any pain. Like I said, in a way, this is quite nice because he you know, he's not really sick. He's not really ill. And at the moment, he will become ill if he doesn't eat. But if I can kind of put a stop to it before that happens, before that, you know, before it really kicks in, then I think that's the kindest thing to do. So yeah, it's a very, very strange outcome. I really thought it was going to be something to do with his teeth. I thought it was going to be something simple. I just thought they were going to say, oh, his back teeth were overgrown, and they were going to trim them, and that was it. But no. It's so strange, it really is, because a couple of days ago he was absolutely fine, nibbling away. I mean, if you look back, I had a video about 2.5 weeks ago of them all out on the grass, and he was nibbling away, scoffing his face. So I don't know what has happened. I don't understand. I really don't understand. But it's definitely something to do with his throat, because he can't swallow. His mouth, his pouches were just full of food. So it's not anything else. He had a feel of his tummy. He said, you know, his bladder's, there's nothing wrong with his bladder. His bladder's not, you know, swollen or anything, or he's not compacted, he's not constipated or anything. He's very bright-eyed, he's alert, he's energetic. He's not unwell. He's not, you know, hasn't got anything that's making, you know, giving him pain. He just can't swallow. That's all. He's just lost his ability to swallow. I don't know how it's happened. I've never heard of this before. I've never heard of any other cases. So, you know, I'm a bit in the dark at the moment. It's just, I don't really know how to take it. But it definitely is something with his throat or his tongue. Obviously, because the food just isn't being digested and isn't going down. He's able to eat hay, but that may be because he doesn't really have to chew it around the mouth and it just goes down easily. Whereas with vegetables and nuggets, he really has to chew on them and, you know, around in his mouth and then digest them slowly. So he's just not, he hasn't, I mean, look, he hasn't touched the vegetables. He hasn't even gone near the lettuce, and he loves lettuce. So, yeah. Anyways, I'm going to make a move now, but thank you all for watching. And thank you all again for your wishes and your lovely comments and messages. I really appreciate them. And, you know, yeah, I'll be back with another video soon, another update soon. And, yeah, thank you all very much.